Kennedy came out and said that the high office of president has been used to foment a plot to enslave all Americans. Well, that was already in the works, and it had already been agreed upon, because you're talking about now generational debt by nation states over 240 years. I wrote this in my points and authorities. What nation state in its right mind would go into debt for 240 years? And how is that advantageous to me? I wasn't around. I didn't agree to any of this. I didn't agree to that debt. Why should I have to pay it? How is that advantageous to me? What happens if the state doesn't pay the debt? They don't pay bonds on China. They're going to come over here and kill me and bomb me because of the unpaid debt? Because I got an obligation as a U.S. citizen to help them pay it? Not interested. That's not advantageous. So do African nations need to be bringing their issues into the World Court? If they have an issue, that's where it has to go. There's no other option. These things are set down as peremptory norms. Any of them that are members of the UN have already agreed on it. That's what they have to do. And that actually gets into some very deep international things, in the sense that there's something they did called the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties. This is how treaties work. This is how you get into them. This is how you revise them. This is how you amend them. And this is how you get out of them, or rescission. And that takes a process. You can't just say, oh, I'm walking away, because the treaty that you already signed said you don't just get to walk away. There has to be a process. Even with Libya and Gaddafi, that's what happened with him. Even then, at the top, they rely on attorneys, and they end up doing things that are foolish by saying, like in that case, he was going to form up a central bank that was going to be backed by gold under the African Union. Like, well, that's a violation of the Bretton Woods Agreement. You can't just say, this is what I'm going to do, when you've already agreed that you're doing something else. Does that make sense?
It does. But again, when you listen to whether the Moorish Science, whether the Moroccan Treaty, or let's just say Liberia. Liberia was Africans going back to Liberia to build the United States in Liberia. So they left their cousins here in the United States in slavery. And I'm listening to you talk about international law with the UN, and the only thing I'm not really understanding or comprehending is, since they stopped backing up the gold in 1933, how does this all compute to what we have to do exactly? What steps, what procedures, becoming a state of your own, or like you said, they're not going to deal with you as an individual. And we have so many different levels of consciousness, politically, scientifically, evidence. Where do you begin? I mean, that's where I'm at. Like, I've heard so many different...
Okay. You want me to tell you where to begin?
Yeah.
Get rid of the past. We live in the here and now. I had to give up my past. Whatever my past is, my family probably came over here as indentured servants if I trace it all back. And that would be to the nobility of Britain. And indentured servants, people think indentured servitude was different than slavery, and I got news for you. Just read the book I said last week, The Gangs of America, in Chapter 3 on the Virginia Company. No nobility ever got punished for taking a rake and beating a slave to death, or an indentured servant. It didn't matter. Indentured servants, they got racked, they got hung, they got shot. Anything the nobility wanted to do to them, that's what they did. It's no different. It's just fancy little words. Somebody thinks it changed the meaning of something. So, in 1999, I was tired of this system. I was just sick of it, and I didn't know anything to do other than we bought a house in St. Kitts in the Caribbean, and we moved away. And I tell people all the time, I didn't understand that changing geography did not change the jurisdiction. It did not change my citizenship contract at all. Didn't do anything to it. And the U.S. actually exercises more jurisdiction over its citizens than any other country in the world, as far as global affairs, global commerce, living somewhere else, all that. And the U.S. on political asylum, they put in a reservation that says the United States of America does not believe in the doctrine of political asylum. So in other words, you're not going to protect our citizens. If we want them, we'll come get them. And this is the problem with citizenship. Now, you mentioned a couple of things. First of all, Liberia, as you said, they went under the protections of America. That means they didn't get out from under America. And today, all of them have signed the UN Charter anyway. And if you read Article 24 in that charter, the Security Council has veto power over the General Assembly. That's the bottom line. So all the 5 permanent members that set up the UN are literally the ones that are in control. Now, why the other nations agreed to do that, I have no idea. I have a partial idea because it says that the Security Council is going to maintain international peace. Like, you signed this in 47 to let U.S. maintain peace after you just watched them drop an atomic bomb on Japan? You want these guys? Seriously? So when I read this stuff, I'm looking at it going, is anybody actually thinking of what's going on here? Personally, I think it's because of greed. I think the nation states and the heads of states took the blankets. They got billions and billions of dollars sitting in bank accounts. They don't just get to walk away now. So all of them, in my opinion, have sold out their people. Now, you mentioned Morocco a while ago. The same thing is true with Morocco as, let's just say, these guys that want to do the Republic of Texas thing. If you read the writings of Austin when they went to Texas, it says, do you think we would have come out here without guarantees from the United States? Well, the guarantor is the one that's in the power position. If I'm sending you out there as a U.S. citizen, I didn't send you out there to become independent. I'm the guarantor. You're going to go take this land for me, not taking it for yourself and then claiming it. Morocco has always been a monarchy. Whoever came here, I don't care what they got to say, because I see where the monarchy is now. They still have some sort of Republican monarchy, they call it, or whatever. But Morocco's part of the UN. They're part of that General Assembly that's under the Security Council. So this is one of the things I've said on my website a long time ago. I don't understand why people want to hang their life on a past that they can't prove versus living on universal principles that they can. We all live on this planet together, and the international treaties on human rights literally say that all men are born equal in dignity and rights, and therefore being endowed with reason and conscience should conduct themselves as brothers one to another. That was signed in 1933, and the moment I read it, I just started laughing, because I knew that the moment they put ink and paper on that thing, every single one of them, when they stood up for the table, were all guilty. They don't do it among themselves, and they certainly don't do it within their nation states. None of them. So self-determination, literally, like in the Matrix movie, that was about Zion coming out of the Matrix, leaving it behind. It's interesting, though, and I had this conversation just 2 nights ago with somebody. I said, you do understand that the only reason they went after Neo was the very first scene in the movie where he's fallen asleep at the computer. He's so freaking tired, and the computer has one word on it. It says searching. If people ain't searching, they're not getting anything. They're never ever going anywhere. They will remain in the matrix. They will remain under this system of control. So does that help out in answering your question about Liberia? We work in Liberia. We set up an education system there. We've been running university courses for 5 years in Liberia. So we have a pretty good understanding of what happened and what's still happening there. You know what? Here's a website right here. Pam Pauper, she's got attorneys that are talking about filing now lawsuits, crimes against humanity. Same thing the German attorneys are talking about, doing crimes against humanity and suing the state and suing corporations. Make Americans Free Again is the .com is the name of the website. These people are all going to fail. They do not understand jurisdiction. And I can reference this. I listened to this about 20 minutes of the attorney, and he's literally saying that to make these constitutional arguments that they claim that they're going to try to make, it's probably going to cost $3 to $6 million. But you just lost about 99% of everybody listening to you, because people aren't going to do it. And the constitutional arguments are going to be incorrect because they don't have constitutional status and standing. In 2008, Philip Berg out of Pennsylvania tried to sue Obama and the DNC over the birther issue. And it was summarily dismissed right off the bat. And on page 8 in that document, it says, lawyers and non-lawyers alike have trouble understanding the issue of standing. That was a polite way of the judge telling him, you don't get it, do you, Mr. Attorney? You got no standing to sue Obama and the DNC. Well, he didn't get it because he filed an appeal, which was just as quickly kicked out.
If you're enjoying the content on this channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that bell icon so that you don't miss any future updates. We live in a world now where propaganda and censorship are the rule of the day. YouTube presentations, Facebook presentations, or any other presentation will not have completed information. If you'd like to see a complete interview, plus more content like this, then please subscribe to my Patreon, David Williams Unleashed, and then check out our membership site, Get Out of the System, because you can't get out of this system until you get the system out of you. Thanks for watching.